Hello friends, welcome to the channel. If today is your first time visiting with us, I want to extend to you a very warm welcome and invite you to look at our over 340 videos that are arranged in playlists, as we are confident you will find something you find both educational and enjoyable to watch. If you have been here before but you have not subscribed, do subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified every time we post a new video. No. If today is your birthday, we want to extend you a very happy birthday. Today we're going to build the corner niche or a small bookcase, depending on where you want to put it. We're going to put it in our small bathroom, but you can put it anywhere in your house to hold small books or knickknacks. So depending on the use you decide for it, it can be a bookcase or a niche. Again, in keeping the cost down, we went to the store and we bought offcuts, wood offcuts. And the advantage of this is we do not have to make a lot of finishing. We do not have to plane it because it's going to lock into each other. And we're going to show you how we're going to prep these boards so they can actually be ready for us to use for our project. So stick around and see how we're going to achieve that. So as I said before, we bought this as an offcut, which is a fairly inexpensive way to purchase wood. And because it is tan and groove, it's going to give us a very interesting detail to our project that will make it much more interesting without having to use any expensive tool or equipment that at the moment we don't possess. We're going to start now processing the wood. So we want to remove one of those two pieces, and we're going to remove that one. Lip. And this is the groove part, but we don't need that because that would be our rear piece, and that's how we're going to use to connect them, right?
Yep.
So we're going to raise our blade that clears that without touching the top, because we don't want this to cut through both of them. We only want to cut through one, right?
The bottom one only.
Only the bottom one.
Right.
Okay. And then we're going to use the same piece to see how deep it is, so we can set our stop. So we're going to put our stop here. I think there is good.
Well, did you want it flush with the opening?
Reasonably flat.
Okay, so that about there or a little bit, tiny bit more. Yeah.
All right, so the thing now is to...
But is it straight? We need to make sure it's straight. So.
And now we're going to take one of the two groove pieces off, right?
Lip.
We're going to take it. And that was our intended outcome, so we can connect the two back pieces, right?
Yep.
So since we have that set, we'll do another piece. We only need two pieces, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very nice terrace. So in the two rear boards, we have removed from both of them one of the two edges, and as you can see, they can go together very nicely.
So we plan to put the flat side of one against the interior flat side of the other. So they'll join in a lineup.
Okay, and we're going to use these corner clamps to help us with the assembly, but we probably need to put glue first. Okay, now we're going to start the gluing process. Okay. What do you need?
I was just trying to determine if that's, I think I want it to be here.
All right, we're going to put the boards together. And we are going to use our corner clamps to keep them in place. I know you cannot see anything, so maybe when I go on the other one, you can.
I can see mostly just fine.
Oh, that looks nice and tight here, right? And those two clamps will keep that at 90 degrees. That's not tight? It's tight.
I just asked.
Yeah. So now we have a decent connection there and a good connection in the back. Let me see how our gluing goes. I think we glued the wrong side. So we use one of the off-cut pieces to create, to hide the gap that was created here. Make sure it's flush here because we're going to have to remove this lip. Or now actually that this is filled, we might not, I don't know. Depends, what do you think?
I already said I didn't think it needed to be removed, but it's not my project, so. I have done pushing it in.
Yeah, it's kicking out again.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, friends, while our other two pieces, the corner is gluing, we're going to remove the tan for our front pieces to make it look a little more finished and better. So we're going to do that in our table stand, on our table stand. Around our table stand, ready? Looks pretty good actually. I don't think we need to do any other things, do you? You can talk.
Well, we always have to sand raw edges on furniture.
There's nothing wrong about this. This is perfect. Let's see if we come off or if we have to run it again. Let's run it again with a little higher.
Okay. So it wasn't quite high enough for this board. It's a little bit
Go.
bowed. So we're gonna run it again. So we're going to assemble the other pieces of the sides of the shelf unit by putting some glue inside, if it's open.
And you're putting the glue in the groove to match that up with the tone. Get moving tone with the here.
Correct. And I may need to put more glue than this.
No, honey, that's way too much glue already actually. This will spill out for sure. Now I prefer Tide-Bond glue, but we have Gorilla, and it works okay. But again, my preference is Tide-Bond glue. Let me know what is your preference in the comments below.
You're gonna lose your glue, girl.
Never. Okay. Okay, so do you want, all right. That's good.
So that's one shelf.
That's good. Everything is good. The question is how to make the most out of each piece of plywood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what the best thing is.
I think what we'll do is just do a opposite like this. And then we could do two more out of that same piece.
Okay. So we can mark it.
Mm-hmm. Make sure it's nice and flush though before you do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
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 We'll see how we go.
All right.
All right. I think I need to oil this. So using glue and brad nails, we attached our first corner here, and then we're going to continue. I'm sorry, I said corner, I meant self. And we're going to put 2 or 3 more, and then the top will be a little bigger, so it will not be the same size. The rest of them will be this size, however, right?
Right. So we did leave a little bit of room on the edge. This is the bottom of the shelf unit, and so we can put a little piece of trim there, but these will act as feet.
Okay. Okay, we're getting ready to cut our second shelf, and we'll try to minimize the wood we have. The rest of the project, as you have seen, is going to be using what we already have in the shop. So we're using scraps to complete the project, right?
All right. This is a spare piece of plywood we have, so we want to get the most out of the cuts that we have.
Oh, a really good cut.
Yeah?
Now, I
good?
don't know if we have enough here.
Might have been better just to go all the way through,
What do you mean on the
all the way to the other side here, so then you could cut this.
There?
No, don't push against the blade. Let me see.
So we use the other one because it has a bigger edge. I think it's pretty good.
Okay.
Let's see how it fits.
So right now we're measuring for our third shelf.
We're not measuring. We never measure.
Well, we're getting it. We have to figure out how big it needs to be. Wait a second. We got to get these completely lined up. They're not flush here in the corner. Okay. Oops. So something's not straight. How about do it on this corner? And then the grain is going the same way. Hold on. Not quite. Can you wait? Wait 1 second. Okay. Go for it. All right.
Okay.
All right, so we have this one that we just cut and that one that we just marked. And so we want to kind of dry fit it, make sure it's going to match up. And so we've got some pencil marks we can make here
How do you made the pencil?
and here and then up here. Okay, and then once we do that, we can use the square just to make sure that everything is at the right angle. Nice and square that way, and nice and square that way, so that we get a nice flat shelf. Okay, so now we're going to cut this third piece.
No, we're going to do this first. Are you sure it's correct?
So now we're measuring for the placement of the shelf.
Select with the top and then compress it a little bit more. Ready? So now we're working on the top of our little niche, niche,
Niche.
niche. And we're trying to decide if we want a little overhang on the front. We decided we don't want an overhang in the back because we want it to be flush against the wall, but it won't be because there is baseboard.
Yeah, there's some molding.
Yeah, so we're going to figure that out and we'll tell you what we did. So we made the mark that will meet our two corners. I'm sorry, a line. But then we created, using a space here, two more marks. So we're going to have an overhang in the front that we think will make the piece look better. So now we're going to take that out, mark it in the correct distance and then cut it. So we're making sure that we have the same distance from the edge, and now we're going to connect the 2 points. You want it to stop there or go all the way through?
Well, it doesn't matter because
Well, it matters because we can cut it there.
Yeah, that's all coming off.
That's what I'm asking. Do you want us to cut it there and keep all that?
No,
Or you want it to cut
we're
there?
gonna cut it right here and right here.
Okay. All right. Yes. It is a little trickier because I have less space. What do you want to do?
I want to mark it on
I don't need it on that because we have a lot of space.
I was thinking.
But we cut the last piece, which is going to be the top, and again it has to be bigger than the others. So we have a little bit of overhang. Can you see? and I think it will make it look really, really nice. So now we're going to glue it and brad it together. Not all the way, love. To the line. Right, let's put it on the floor so it will be, or you want to do it here?
I want to do it here so I have something to brace it against.
Okay. There, that's perfect. Let's hit 2 here and there, that will hold it in place, and then we do the rest. This is in position. Okay, this is still in position. Don't put your fingers there, though. Okay, let's put one in the middle there, and then we can... Okay, and the project is basically finished. We have to finish it. We're going to stain it, and we're going to sand it a little bit. But you can see the final outcome and how the projects look. And I want to point out a couple of things while Ms. Wizard prepares the finish. We use the tag and groove board to give it a character without having to do anything extra. It's an easy way to do that. And we use scrap for everything else. So how much did the whole project cost us? Material we bought, not the scrap.
About $8.
Okay, so this is a under $10 project. And of course you can scale it. We made it for our space, but you can scale it up or down. You can make it deeper if you want. And you can even make it into a bookcase. It's a multi-purpose thing. And the other thing I want to show you is inserting this piece here, as we showed you earlier. Just, even though this is not visible, it just gives it a more finished look and adds a little nice detail, don't you think? I love it when people say, mm-hmm. Like yep. the camera, the thing can catch it. You need to unplug it, love. It's empty, clearly.
She was going to turn off the thing.
We're still debating if we're going to leave this like this or we're going to edge it. And when we show you the finished project, we're going to discuss. We're going to, of course, tell you. But this will stain nicely. This is high-quality plywood, and as you see, it has no voids anywhere, so it will stain very nice and it will show a nice contrast between the plies. So we might just try it like this, and if we don't like it, we can always put an edge finish on it. So some finishing sanding. And at this stage, of course, you could leave the piece like this, and it would age in a very nice color, or you can stain it, or my least favorite finish, paint it. I think this is kind of a nice piece to use paint on, and what?
Stain.
I said it's a nice piece to use paint on.
You mean it's too nice to put
Right.
paint on it?
I see. It's too nice to use paint. It's not nice to paint.
Right, the wood is good quality, the finish is good. You usually use paint on MDF products or projects. I don't know why I keep saying products. Or on cheaper quality wood. I don't like this because this pink vein. Can you see? Okay, we finished the sanding and now we're making sure that any dust is not left on the piece before we apply the finish. And I want to point out a couple of things we learned. First of all, the tongue and groove boards, even though they're supposed to be identical, really do not have the identical dimensions. So we had to realign our saw when we're cutting the pieces to make sure that they were cut correctly. Now again, granted, we didn't use them the way they're intended to be used, but I think that gives a very nice finish and detail to our project, right? And definitely it is very nice. The stain, I'm sure, will bring all of it out, but I also like the contrast if it was to left unfinished. I think this look really nice, no? Are we going to put little plants here or what we're going to put?
Oh, I don't know. It's going to be in a powder room, so not much sunlight in there for plants, but we'll see what we can put on there.
And again, you can extend that using the same method. If you're using the tongue and groove, if you're using more than two, of course, you can extend it to any width you want, and you don't really have to do much on it. They just slip together as long as you make sure they're the same length. We wanted it a fairly small piece, so we only used two. And the other change will be what you're using for your shelving units. And in our case, we got all of them out of a fairly small piece of scrap plywood we've laying around the store. This has been a very interesting project, and I'm looking forward to look at the finish or of the project with finish on it. I mean, this is the finished project. We're not going to do anything else. And a couple of the details I want to point out. First of all, we did leave an overhang in the front. We did not leave overhangs on the sides because it is not important. And we did, the bottom shelf is not flush with the bottom, so it gives that edge and leg looking more finished look, right?
The other thing to point out about the tongue and groove boards is that we did see a couple at the store that were bowed, and if you have bowed ones, it's a little more difficult to join them together. So be on the watch for that.
Well, every time you buy wood, actually, you need to buy the best quality boards you can find, and that means spending a little time on the store, at the store, not on the store, to select your wood. And in our case, this is a little more because we tend to buy offcuts that they cost anywhere from 55 cents to $1.50 or $1.60, depending on what kind of offcut we choose to buy. And that was the case with this piece as well. What we bought were the tongue and groove boards, were offcuts, and of course the rest of it we had, and now you can get a good idea of the piece. What do you think?
Looks good. It looks really nice.
Okay. So for our decor, this is probably the darkest stain we have used, but for the room is going to go, this is the correct stain. It is rather black, but that is what we have to use.
A little wobbly on here.
Well, and it doesn't look as dark on camera as it actually is, but you can see a very nice definition of the stain here. And we decided not to edge the plywood because with this stain actually it looks pretty nice, right? It doesn't need any other finish, and I prefer to do the easiest approach, not because we're lazy, but to make the projects simpler. Not every project has to be really complicated. So you think you're going to do a second hand or not? Even though this is a reasonably large piece, the scale of it is not extremely high. It is definitely a piece you can do in an afternoon, other than waiting for the finish to dry if you finish it. But if you like the Scandinavian European look, you can leave it unfinished, and I think it will look just fantastic. Well friends, we have reached the end of our episode, and here is our completed piece, and we may give it the second coat of the stain depending on how we decide it fits our decor. But in any case, this gives you a very good idea of this project. This was a fun project for us. It really doesn't require a lot of tools to complete, and it doesn't take too long, right? I mean,
No,
it can easily,
we did the whole thing in about 3 hours.
right, it's easily an afternoon project, which is most of the times our focus. Every now and then we'll make projects that take longer, but that's the general idea. It turned out really very nicely. We're very pleased with it, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it. If you did like this episode and you want to support our channel, please smash that like button. If you didn't, the other button works as well. Make sure to smash it twice. Share, like, subscribe, and let us know what you want to see in this channel. So far, every time we've been requested to build something, we have done so for our fans and subscribers. From the Garage Wizard, Mrs. Wizard, Elpida, and the Urban Homesteading channel, we're going to see you next week with another project, and midweek with some other fun video. We bid you a great week.